So you guys know how it's really hard to have a conversation? Getting seemingly harder. It's as if we are working with different data sets. John and I have tried a bunch of times, and we like doing this. It's hard, and we also don't want it to take over our channel, to make videos that are like, let's talk about the whole, like try and talk about the whole thing. And like, at the end, maybe we'll be like, here's the stuff that people disagree about, so at least, you know that instead of like instead of just the normal, instead of the normal system of being like, well, these other people who disagree with me must be crazy, at least you have something to be like, well, they're not necessarily evil, but there's like, at least I understand that there is disagreement that isn't just the disagreement I hear about people disagreeing about on the internet, which tends to be the worst of either side. So we've been trying to make those videos for a long time. They tend to be easier to make about other places than our place, because when you're getting your first bit of information about Brazil, you're like, well, I didn't know any of this, so you're building me up from scratch. These kinds of content, both text and video, have come to be called explanatory journalism. And it's a really dangerous kind of thing to do, because if you're trying to explain the whole thing, then it is a very easy and good opportunity to frame the thing in the way that you want it to be framed, and then at the end you can be like, and obviously thus people who disagree with me are evil. That is really hard not to do. When we make videos like that, it's really hard not to end the video, especially on Vlogbrothers, which is supposed to be about John and I as people. It's really hard to end that video without being like, and yeah, obviously we need to move away from these bad sets of ideas. Hopefully that's a little bit better than what we tend to see on the internet. But what we want to do is detach that a little bit from who we are as people, and get people who really know what they're talking about, people who are really experienced in writing about this stuff and connecting with experts and giving nuance and context to these very complicated issues that we tend to sort of bring into our identities rather than talk about as if they are actual paths to a future. So we are going to pilot a project called Contextualized. And Contextualized will be at youtube.com/contextualized. You can go and subscribe to that right now. There's nothing there.
You could actually be the first subscriber.
Oh, jeez. So get your phones out and we'll just stop listening to what I'm saying. And what we're going to do is have those videos be 100% voiceover, good data visualization, so that you can take these numbers like 2 billion and 20 billion sound kind of like the same number, but understand them better, understand trends, understand a little bit of history, and also take some time to do some fun things there. Do you want to talk about your fun idea?
Sure, so we're going to pilot a bunch of different formats on Contextualized to get a feel from you what you want to see, what's working. So we'll certainly do videos that are about big ideas or big problems. For instance, right now there's a lot of conversation about Medicaid and the role that it plays in the US economy and in the healthcare system, and there's a lot of talk about transitioning Medicaid to Medicaid block grants. But very few of us have a deep understanding of what that even means, let alone kind of what the implications of it would be over the course of the next 20 or 30 years. And so we make videos that are about that try to establish a little bit of the history of Medicaid and also talk about what these block grant proposals are, the think tanks they came out of, etc. But we also want to do other formats, fun formats. By the way, if you have suggestions for formats, let us know. We're interested to know about them. But we want to do one called This Week Last Century, where we talk about something that was happening this week in 1917, maybe something that was, and go all over the world, talk about culture, talk about sports, talk about global politics a century ago. Because one of my concerns in this sort of hypersaturation of media right now is that we are extremely focused on the present. And that is important because what's happening in the present is really obviously of huge importance to us. But it can sometimes make it feel like everything that's happening right now is entirely unprecedented. And I think if we have a way of zooming out and seeing, you know, some things were going pretty poorly in 1917 in some places. I think it can be helpful. So that is Sarah's idea, actually, and that's one of the ones that we're developing. But there's several formats that we're going to test and pilot and look to you for feedback on what we should invest in and start making weekly videos about. And you can look for that hopefully in September, but certainly this fall.
Over and over again, people who had connections with some way of funding this would say, like, how can we help you make it? And we go a little bit down the path, and then it would be like, well, but we don't want to make people pay for it. Like, no, like, the whole point is so that more people can have a better understanding of the world. We're not going to put it behind a paywall. We're not going to create put it on some other subscription service. And like those things were really exciting, but like what we came back to was like if we know how to make video that works on YouTube. I don't really want to learn how to do a different thing because it's working really well. It's reaching a lot of people and it's of huge cultural importance. And so we want to do the thing we know how to do, and we're just going to self-fund it. We're going to take the things that we like, going to take money from the Dear Hank and John Patreon. We're going to take money that is being generated by our other projects, and we're just going to try this, and we're going to just be John and Hank about it, and not try to make it some media empire thing. And I'm really excited to just do it.
So that's Contextualized. Now it has like 15 subscribers, which I'm psyched about. Yeah, so there is one last thing, which is that I have written a book.